Okay, welcome back to the channel, beautiful person. Let's talk today about how to mix, but we're not gonna do this the way I normally do, which is, do it with stock plugins only, or kind of just go comprehensively through the entire mixing and mastering process. I kind of want today to just be focused on what I normally would do in a session, which is move naturally through a suite of isotope plugins. A few of them that we can just talk about right off the top is like stuff that I like to use, like Neutron, Neoverb, Tonal Balance is a really good one. Just like I have a lot of their stuff, because like I've been talking more about on this channel lately, I am more so of an engineer than a beat maker. So if there was a binary and then that binary existed on a spectrum where it was like engineer or like beat maker, and this is like the middle, I would definitely be leaning more towards engineering. So all that being said, that's the very in-depth kind of like boring explanation for why I take mixing so seriously and why I believe you as a homie should take engineering seriously too. Without further ado, let's get into it. So I already have the beat. That's like literally step 0 is like make a beat. So then the next thing you're gonna do is import everything into a mixer track. So we can go ahead and take this melody and just switch it over to track 1. That's pretty simple. And then from there, what we're gonna do is we're going to go to unsorted, and those are going to be these individual, samples that we've imported. Then we'll take those and we'll route those to their individual tracks here, and then we'll make this a different color just so it stands out a little bit, and that's good. So that's the melody, and we can even rename it. I like to do all caps, and that's great. All right, cool. So the first thing we want to do again is set up that signal flow. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to take all of these, and we're going to go to a new track, and then we're going to route to this track only. And great. So now all our drums are coming through. We want to rename this as our drum bus. And that's just going to be able to control the overall volume of all of our drums. And that's going to play into our gain staging that we're going to talk about in a little bit. And then we want to make one more, and this is going to be for the room reverb that we're going to put on the drums as well. So we can rename this room verb. And then we'll just turn the volume down on that for now, because we're not going to need it for a bit. And then we can recolor both of these to something like that, so it just sticks out and it's easier to see. We'll rename this as melody bus. And I don't always do sends on melodies. I do them less. I don't do it more than I do them, because I just like to kind of have my reverb just all on the one track. By the way, shout out Pure Dandy. He's the GOAT. He provided this melody loop. Check him out. So we're going to go ahead and just turn off our melody bus so there's no melody. And then we'll route this to the drums bus as well, so that it's off. And then what we're gonna do is turn on that drum bus, bring all of these down. So when I say gain staging, I really just mean leveling, because all gain staging is just leveling at different stages. Like, I don't know how the term got mystified all to hell, but that's literally all it is just leveling. So all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I like to start with the low end. This is just something I learned from my boy Izzy, who mixes over at Baron Studios, and he's Grammy nominated. So I go with what he tells me. Something I always do is put a soft clipper on my master right away when I'm mixing. If I forget, I always try to catch myself as soon as I can. I usually start with it though, because Jason Joshua made a really important note, and he's the guy who mixes for Bad Bunny, a Grammy winner, multiple Grammy winner. So again, trusted resources, trusted, sources of information. But he says always mix into your clipper. He's the guy that made God Particle, if you're familiar. It's like TR5, but it's just another like soft clipping, brick wall limiting VST. So he definitely knows what he's talking about when he says mix into your clipper. Yeah. So let's give this just a little bit of stereo, and we'll pan it so that activates. It was like straight down the middle, so you have to like pan it just a little bit and then add some stereo so that it can view it as a stereo signal. For the most part, if you're a beginner, I don't recommend giving any of your drums any amount of stereo at all, because especially if you'd use the drum room bus or the drum room verb send, you're not going to need it. Like, I do not recommend panning or stereoizing any of your trap drums unless you really know what you're doing. Cool. I'll just use a little bit of growth speed on this perk loop to get it to fit in just the way I want it. good. So now we can get into actually using the plugins that I want to talk about today. And the first one is going to be just standard old Neutron. And let's talk about like just the Neutron equalizer so that we can talk about equalization as well. So, and we can start with the drums. The thing I do to all my drum sounds, again, except for my kick and my 808, is I will literally just create a high pass here. And I'll kind of turn that steepness up. So like right there, and I'll put it just like right at 90. And then I'll do the same thing on the high end. I'll like create a low pass. I'll put that steepness at about like 48. And then I'll put it at 17,000. And that is to just cut out the trash from every single drum sample I have. So what I'll do is I'll literally just save that preset and then drag it to everything. Close it. Oh, I literally put it on my kick. We don't want that on the kick, right? So turn it off. So naturally, we don't want that because our kick and 808 are doing a lot of work in that 90 hertz frequency range. The goal is just to cut the frequency out of everything else. So actually, we can come back to this kick and turn it on, but just bring it to like maybe like 20 hertz, because that low end stuff really just makes your speakers sound like trash anyway. So like 20 is good for that. So then we can take that and save this preset and bring it over to the 808, and that'll work for that too. So then we can, ooh, got that mug sounding. So let's keep going. We're just gonna save this preset, move it over, close it, move over to the next one. What's the next one? Hi-hat. Boom. Next one. Open hat. Boom. Next one. Another open hat. Boom. Next one. So then the next place that I'm going to use the equalizer is on the melody. So now I'm going to EQ some of that low end from there. So what I'm going to do is find the fundamental character of the melody. So what the fundamental character basically is how much of the low end body of whatever signal you're equalizing can you equalize out. It could technically be from the high end too, but like basically the fundamental character is the point where it stops sounding like what it sounds like, right? We're looking for that fundamental character, right? So let's solo the melody. So it still has its fundamental character, right? We can say the fundamental character is gone, right? Because it's lost that body. All we're hearing is like a ghost kind of the signal. So where is that fundamental character? We have to work back and find it. I'd say it's right there. I'd say it's about right there. And honestly, that's pretty much what I found is that's all you really need in terms of low end. Like you can do the super, that was 280, right? So you can do the super extreme, like low pass cut or high pass cut. And, you know, you can do the super extreme telephone, you know, EQ, which I do a lot, but for the cleanest, most powerful sounding mixes, I've noticed that if you just get up to that fundamental character, which usually will be enough to get it out of the way of the low end 808, anything it needs, anything else, it's just better to just keep the rest of that body in your melody, because that body provides a lot of power to the mix that you end up just losing. Like the melody, it should provide some low end, it just shouldn't interfere with the 808. So that's a mistake that I personally have made a lot in my career. And that being said, I'll just bring this, and I'm just using this low pass to EQ a bit of that high end to where I think it's going to be clean. I think that's good. So now for this part of the EQ, I'm just looking to EQ any harsh artifacts, which I don't think there are going to be any, because Pure Dandy's just good at mixing. So I don't think I'm going to have a problem with that. But my tip here would be to use subtractive EQ as opposed to additive EQ. Subtractive EQ is going to be more powerful because the goal is to take out things in order to accentuate. The goal is to take out things so that you can accentuate, basically like make it more present, the things that are still there that you haven't boosted yet. So instead of boosting what you want to hear, cut what you don't want to hear, and that's going to make what you do want to hear just more present naturally, because you're reducing the volume of other things. So it still has to fill the overall space of what the fader is allowing. And so the only thing I'm really going to do is just add some delay and some reverb, to be real with you, because I don't feel like messing up the melody that's perfect already. So I think that just makes it sound bigger. and more wide, and then I'll add some reverb to basically do the same thing. And I just think that's very nice. So then again, we want to just level this against the drums. Woo! Okay, so I think that clap needs a little bit more power. So what I'm going to do is come to this exciter in Neutron 4, and I'm going to add some power to that using some of these effects. And the exciter is one that I use a lot, so I'll probably just like take that effect and copy it over to the snare, honestly. I like the way that's sounding. Ooh. Okay, so here's where the fun starts coming in. So now our goal is to level the buses against each other. So we never really left gain staging. You know, we're moving into different phases, but gain staging is something that doesn't stop. You gain stage from start to finish until you export, basically. So we are still gain staging, but now we're going to do it with just the buses. So the first thing we're going to do is turn off the melody once more. And so we're working just with the drums again, and we're going to level this. So I don't want it clipping that hard. If I'm going to have it clipping, I don't want it that hard. So let's just turn it all the way down. Pro tip, it's better to level from off into what you want than to come from like a high volume and try to like get it perfect. It's just, from experience, I can tell you it's way easier to do it this way. Let's see if we can just EQ. We'll just do a high pass there. And then we'll come here and we'll add some Ozone 9. And now we're getting into the fun stuff. So a preset, I like to use all the presets, right? But a preset I really like is this, and I use this a lot. Is this tape bass buddy? I just love that power and punch it gives my drums. And then it allows me to turn it up a little bit more too. Okay, then we're gonna come and now we're kind of doing a sub master on this melody. And again, I use all the presets, but one that I really like is in Neutron 4. And this one is called the Bright Sustain Pad. So this just sounds so good to me. It just makes things sound big and lush and powerful. I usually don't have to tweak it very much, to be real with you. But and again, we just come back to doing a little bit of gain staging. So from here, it just becomes about how does it fit with the drums that we got. So I'm taking this, I already know I got my drums where I want them. So I'm really just playing with this melody fader to see where does the melody in terms of loudness sound good to me. So that's what I'm looking for here. Woo! So the last thing, man, let's just get out of here. So this is the bangers. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, this is the bangers right here. Like, tonal balance is the thing that brings it home. I'm gonna be real with you. So let's pop that open right now, and I'll kind of talk through why I'm glazing this particular plugin so hard. So what tonal balance basically allows you to do is reference your track against something without needing a reference track. That's like the best way that I can explain it to someone who thinks similarly to me. So basically what it's doing, it has this massive expansive database of just a bunch of like the best songs ever in a select, you know, category or genre, right? And it'll create this reference. So for example, what we're seeing on the screen is bass heavy, and we can change it to fine or broad, but they've got a lot of different, like they've got reggae, they've got pop. And what you do is that you watch to see how this aligns with, you know, whatever you're trying to reference your beat to, right? So we're going for a bass heavy. We can see that it does fit, but we need, you know, we're gonna need to do some stuff. But that's why this is so cool. And you don't have to just work off of the preset folders they have. You can create targets from your own audio files. You can create your own folders. Like you can download, you can buy songs from iTunes, and I think that allows you to download the waves, or at least the highest resolution MP3s, and then you can use those as references. Just like a bunch of different ways to really take advantage of this very, very powerful VST. This is the other really cool thing about Ozone, right? Is that like you can access any, or this is the cool thing about iZotope in general, is that any iZotope plugin that is open in your digital audio workstation can be accessed by any other iZotope plugin in your digital audio workstation. And I believe that works too if you have it open standalone along with your digital audio workstation, depending on how much processing you have available on your computer. You, instead of tweaking this as I go and like having to look back and forth, because you'll see how this looks in a second, I can literally just pop open this Neutron that I just opened and tweak it from here. And we'll open these side by side so that you can see it's actually moving as I move it. And so all I'm really doing is I'm just boosting the volume of particular frequencies in my overall mix so that I can get the reference to align with what Ozone tells me that or what tonal balance tells me that I should be doing. Just to give you like a heads up, I used to have my own reference folder, but I noticed that it was just so similar to the bass heavy that I stopped using it. So when I got my new computer, I didn't even bother importing it because bass heavy just works fine. I make bass heavy music. They based it off of music like Wonder Girl and a lot of like trap stuff. So it's like, it's pretty accurate. And then again, I just want to make one final note that I did open the EQ on Neutron under this soft clipper here, because again, we want to do everything coming into our soft clipper. We want it in our brick wall limiter. My recommendation is you don't want anything coming after that. I think, you know, somebody might have a different opinion if you talk to someone else. All us engineers are different, right? My recommendation is have it be the final thing. Do all your mixing into your brick wall limiter. Do all your mixing into your soft clipper. I think you'll have a much better time. I think your mixes will end up sounding cleaner. So yeah, with that being said, that's the final soapbox I have for you. We are done. Let me know what you think about this final mix compared to what we had in the beginning. I think we really crashed this. It's insane. I'm really excited for you guys to see this video. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and drop a like, sub. It would mean a lot to me, and then I'd get to see you in the next video. I get to keep delivering value, and that'd be really fun. I could buzz away in your pocket the next time I have some gems for you, and that'd be cool. If you want to see the full, long, like unedited form of this video, consider becoming a channel member. They get to see all the unedited versions of my videos, and they get special lessons as well. There's collabs, private channels in my Discord server, and just a bunch of other cool stuff. Just check it out. It's linked below. Consider joining my private group. It's linked below. Let me know what you want to see in the next video. Thank you so much for stopping by. Stay happy, stay healthy, always be creating. Just make sure it's dope content only. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Peace.